Welcome to this video tutorial on how to create a website for beginners on Windows. All these concepts can be applied to Mac, and we may make a video later on how to do so. At the end of this tutorial, you're going to be left with a website that you can use for your personal project or whatever it may be, and you're going to also be left with some knowledge about web development in a whole. Continuing, we're going to work on what a website is, how websites work, break down the files that are used to create the websites, install some software you need, how to find website templates. We're going to work on how to edit the website content in the templates, how to get hosting in a domain, and how to host your site. Now, furthermore, let's move on to what a website is. A website is basically a location connected to the internet that maintains one or more pages on the World Wide Web. Thank you, Google. Let's continue and dive into what that really means. It's a little vague, I know, but we'll get through it. So how do websites work? First, in the top left corner, you're going to see two screenshots from a phone and a laptop. Basically, it's a web browser with a website on it, my blog website. So the website is a URL that's attached to a hosting server. The URL basically is an IP address with a name attached to it, and the name is your domain name. So that IP address goes to the hosting server, and the hosting server has some folders in it that are tied to different addresses, and your address with your name is attached to your folder, and your folder contains some files. These files, HTML, JavaScript, and CSS files for the most part. There's images as well, a lot of different types of, you can put anything on your web server technically. And basically, those files make up what you see on the screen in your web browser. So this is basically how websites work. The browser contacts the server, gets the files, and shows them for you. Next, we're going to move into what these files look like and how to use them. Now, these files were broken up into three categories. We had CSS files, JS files, which are JavaScript files, and then HTML files. If we open the index.html, this is the file that's going to be rendered by the browser right away. In all web servers, that's how it works in the basic case scenarios. If we look, it's made out of building blocks. You can learn all about these blocks on W3 Schools. Read up what divs are, what spans are, H1s, H3s. They're all those are headers. A bunch of stuff, lots of information. You don't need to know everything. Take it as you go. And if you really want to dive deep, this is where you're going to be building up your UI. Here, we will be making changes and stuff later on in the course to fill in your own content. If we move forward, we got CSS files, which contain styling for the HTML. These things we'll touch on a little bit if we want to change colors or change some sizes and fonts, stuff like that. And if you look, IDs in the HTML correspond to IDs in the style sheet. So that's how you get your styles to take on certain elements. If we move forward, we got JavaScript files. We go to the main.js. There's a bunch of different stuff in here. I know it'll look confusing for you if you're not used to this kind of stuff. We're not going to really touch anything in here, but this is where you would put any functionality, real code that runs, that can do a lot of things. There's a lot of possibilities with JavaScript, and you can go so many directions with it. So if you want to explore some options, you can do that with JavaScript. Next up, we have installing the software you need. This piece is going to cover anything that we need to fulfill the rest of the tutorial, and we're going to start with Visual Studio Code. This is a text editor, very, very rich text editor that is awesome. Made by Microsoft, it's free. Go ahead, download that, and we're going to use that to edit our code. Next, we're going to get Wamp Server. Wamp Server is also free. This will allow us to make our local computer like a web server, but for free, and so you can test your websites and do all that kind of jazz on your local machine before you buy some web hosting. Here I'm just going to start my Wamp server just to show you guys. I also have a template there, and we're going to move on to how to get those templates next. Templates can be found very easily through Google and other search engines. Very quick, we're going to go up and we're going to look at this one site called ThemeWagon. ThemeWagon has a bunch of different sites. There's no affiliate with my channel, just putting that out there. But if we scroll down on ThemeWagon's homepage, we see some responsive sites that are all free. Taking a look through them, they all look cool. You can preview them as well. If you open the link, you can see the site looks pretty good, especially for free sites. So if you want to use ThemeWagon, go ahead, it's free. And we're going to use this CV style website as our template for today's tutorial. At the end, you'll be left with your own kind of online profile, and we'll work on all that kind of stuff next. Continuing, there are also other sites you can use to find your website template. If we look online, there's open source web design. These ones are a little bit old in style. I don't recommend using these ones just because they're used by a lot of different people, and they look really old. Going down further, there's another site called Start Bootstrap. This one's very good as well, and some of the themes on here are really nice, like this one here, SB Admin 2. Awesome looking, very professional looking. So if you want to dive a little deeper and do something a little more functionality, you can use something like that and see how it works. Now that we know how to find website templates, let's look at how we can edit one of them and make them our own. So let's go to Google and let's enter the ThemeWagon website, and let's go back to that. And we're going to type in CV at the top to find the resume template that we saw a glimpse of earlier. In the resume template, if we click on it, we'll be directed to a page where we can download it for free or preview it as well. So we're going to click download it, but we're not going to click it right away. We're going to go to our Wamp server. We're going to click it, and we're going to go to our www directory. This contains all the files for the localhost server. So we're going to remove these so that we can put our new template files in here and not have any issues with overlapping files. So if we open the download, we'll see that it's a zip folder, so we're going to have to extract it. I'm going to extract mine to a destination, and I'm going to go back to the www root folder, and we're going to do that there. So we're going to extract it to, we're going to take that file path, we're going to put it in the extract to link, and we're going to extract the files there so that we can have them in our localhost server. Now the files are within a structure here, so we're going to go ahead and copy all the files in the end of the structure, and we're going to put them in the root folder and remove that folder from the download so that it's cleaner and there's no nesting. So there we go, there's all the files at the root. And now that we have that, let's go ahead and go and test this to see if it's working. So if we go back to Wamp, hit localhost, there it is. Now because you'll probably be doing this often, let's reopen everything from the start so you know how to do that. If you go to Wamp, we can also hit www directory and go to the folder. Once we're in the folder, we're going to right click in the empty space and open with code. This will open Visual Studio Code project, and we can go to the browser and now open the website. So in Wamp, in the bottom right corner, you're also going to see localhost. Let's click that again, and our website is up. If you hit F12 on your keyboard, you'll see DevTools, and this is where you'll debug your website. If you right click on the page, you can also inspect and see all the code of the website or the markup. You'll see if you hover over elements, they highlight in the UI. If you click the selector tool, you can also hover over elements in the UI and see what dimensions they take and margins and padding. This is very helpful for debugging your website. You can also hit sources and see all the assets that are loading for your website. If something's missing from your website and it's not in sources, oftentimes you'll see in the network there are things that are not loaded properly. So you can debug that as well. Moving forward, we're going to inspect the page again, and we're going to look for Clarence's name so we can change it in our code. Here I see a block of code. I mentally note that and go back to the code to change it. In index.html, if we do a quick Control F, we'll find Clarence and we'll change this. This can be applied to all the text on the page, and you can go ahead and do that now. Go back to the website and check that everything is loaded. There it is, Tutorials now on the page. Now that we know how to change some content, let's go over how to change the layout and remove a section. The education section here I'm going to remove. I'm going to go click the selector, look at the element, check it out. See, the ID is education. So let's go down into the code and look for education in the quick find. We see the ID there and the section is there as well. Let's go ahead and remove this section by highlighting it and then clicking backspace. Let's save that and see if the changes are taking. And now you can see that the education section is gone. One problem though, we see the education link on the left. Let's go ahead and remove that as well. So if we scroll to the top of the HTML document, we'll see a nav section. This section contains our education link item. Let's go ahead and highlight that and remove that as well. Refresh, and we'll see that our tab is gone. Next, we'll figure out how to change the Facebook icon to a YouTube icon. If we select that element and look at it, we can see that they're using an icon with a class on it. These icons are in sources here at Font Awesome under the vendor tab. If we go to Google and type in Font Awesome, we'll see the Font Awesome website and we can go and click that. If we go into that and search YouTube, we'll find the Font Awesome YouTube icon. Click on that and you're going to see some HTML at the top where you can copy the FA-YouTube text and paste that into your Font Awesome icon. If we find that in the HTML, we can go ahead and remove Facebook and add the YouTube icon. Once this is done, save it, rerun it, and check that your YouTube icon shows up in place of the Facebook icon. Now that that's done, we need to sort out the link for that YouTube button. If we go to the code, we can see that the icon is in a tag. This a tag is pointing to the href of a hashtag, which is nothing. So if we go to our YouTube channel, we can grab the link that we want to use and we can copy that over so that we can then have a clickable link that goes to the YouTube channel. So we go back, paste the link in the place of the href, and go ahead and reload your page. Once that's done, check the button. If it clicks, there we go, redirect to youtube.com/mychannel. If we go back to the code, we'll see that it's going to open in the same tab. Let's change that and change the target to _blank. This will make the click go open a new tab and then load the href in there. Another thing we can do now is change the image on our page. Let's go inspect it and see what it looks like. We see it's using an img tag. Let's go to our code and search that. We find the image pretty quickly. Now there's a source on the image. The source on the image is where the image is coming from. We see our image folder on the left. Let's go grab an image and put it in there and see what happens. So I'm going to take one with a blank background here and pop it in. And it's titled S-standard PNG. We're going to go pop that in place of the profile.jpg. Once you have that down, you're going to want to go ahead and save that, switch over back to the browser, and hard refresh to see your changes take. Hard refresh kind of clears the cache and makes sure that your images come up. Now we're going to go and fix some CSS stuff. We have two CSS files here, resume.css and then resume min. The min is a short version without any spaces. We're going to go ahead and remove the usage of that. So in the index file, we see a link there to our min file. We're going to remove min so that we're referencing the easier to use style sheet. Now that we set up our style sheet, let's go and make some style changes. On the left side, we're going to change the color of this side pane. If we go and inspect it, we'll notice that it's got a background color of orange. You'll see it on the right, and the class is BG primary. Let's go search that in our quick find on our CSS file and make the change necessary to change the color. We change the background color, change it to our blue, save it, and check if it takes. Now I realize that the website is not complete end to end, but that's fine. We're just showing the basics of how to change some of the stuff on the template. If you want to dive deep and pause the video here and go try to finish up that website, go ahead, this is the time. But for now, we're going to move into how to get hosting and a domain, and then finish off with how to host your site. What is hosting and what is a domain? So first of all, hosting is a service provided to you that you have to pay for most of the time from companies. Think of it as internet real estate. Basically, you're securing a spot on a server, and that is being exposed for you to the public, and it hosts your website files. So common companies when you're looking into hosting are Bluehost, HostGator, GoDaddy, Hostinger, 1&1, and there are a lot more to offer. Google offers domain name purchasing as well, and I purchased my domain through GoDaddy. You can purchase yours through wherever. It's more of a personal preference type of thing. I'm not going to go into the gritty details about how to set up your hosting and your domain name, because there are tons of resources out there on how to do that for each company, and each company is different. But the general idea is you get your domain name, you purchase that. Sometimes you can get it with your hosting package, but then you need a hosting package from one of the hosting companies. Once you get that, you can attach your domain name to your hosting company server, and then once that's set up, you will have a working website. Once you're done getting your hosting account set up and your domain, you're going to want to navigate to your hosting site settings to find creating an Ftp account. Usually they don't have an account already made, so you're going to want to create one. And once you create it, we're going to move forward and use the credentials for this to connect to our server through FTP client, which will allow us to transfer our files from our machine, the ones that we've just been working on, to the server. The final step in creating our website is hosting it. I know that we have our FTP credentials now, so we can open our FTP client, and for this you can choose whatever you want. I'm using FileZilla, CyberDuck's another good choice, you pick. I've got FileZilla open here, and I'm going to use Quick Connect. You're going to put in your host name, your username, and your password. Host name can be found probably in a similar area to where you made your account for the FTP client. I'm going to connect, and you'll see on the right side my root folder with a couple other folders with subsites there. I'm going to go ahead and drop over into my local side and look for my website at the www folder in Wamp. Go ahead and open this folder, and you'll see the contents of your website displayed in the bottom pane. We're going to copy these contents and we're going to put it in a folder in the root of the website. So we'll create a new folder here, a created directory, and I'm just going to call it website for now. We can go ahead and create that. If we click that, it'll open in the bottom, and we can then go ahead and copy all our files for our website from our local machine to the server. This is going to take a little while, so sit back and relax. I'm speeding it up in the video for you guys here, but once that's done, we can go ahead and click off of the FTP client. We'll go to our website and type in /website there, and there it is. Our website is live and visible on the web. You can go ahead and check it on your phone. If you want your website to go straight to your content, you can go ahead and put all your contents in your root folder. To recap, we learned a little bit about how websites work, how web servers work, about the files that make up websites and how to edit them, how to find templates online. We have built our own website out of these templates, edited the content, learned about styling. We did a lot today, And we also got hosting and a domain, which is a big part of it. So if you have any questions or comments about the video, leave them down below. If you also have video suggestions, feel free to reach out to me and I can make a tutorial for you.